at par for the purpose for which they are giving the speech. Like
Okay.
body language or structure of speech, like that.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? So,
I think so.
yeah,
Sorry,
please go ahead.
Prabha here. So I believe I think it is about giving constructive feedback while motivating the speaker to speak more and yeah.
Thank you, Prabha. Giving constructive feedback while motivating the speaker to speak more. Wow, that was something new. Motivate the speaker to speak more. Thank you so much. Now let me ask you one question. How many of you in this audience, there are 17 people including me, have a master's in evaluation? Raise your hands if you have a master's or a bachelor's in evaluation. Chalo, master's is too big. How many of you have a bachelor's in evaluation? Okay, nobody? Come on.
What are the criteria?
What is the
for bachelor's
criteria? Okay. Is there a bachelor's in evaluation? I have no idea. Does anybody have a bachelor's in public speaking or a master's in public speaking or any kind of diploma or degree in the 17 people that we have today? Do any one of us have a degree, a certificate, a diploma, a specialization in either public speaking or evaluation? If you guys have, please unmute yourself and say, yes, I do. I would like to know you. Does anyone have that? Nobody? Right? So then the question comes, if I am not an expert in public speaking and you are not an expert in public speaking, then how can we say, I am going to give critical feedback. I'm going to tell you where to improve and how to improve. And I'm going to tell you what you did wrong. This is something to think about, right? Neither am I an expert, nor you are an expert. Then how do I come on stage and say to someone, you are wrong, or this is where I think you should do better, or this is where I think you can do better, go ahead and do it. Keep this question in mind, ponder about this question while we go to the education session. All right? Now, evaluate to motivate. Do we evaluate to motivate? This is the first question that comes to my mind. How many of you have seen evaluation in Toastmasters where you felt like the evaluator was not motivating? Please raise your hands. You felt like, no, this evaluator is not motivating me. Acha, everybody, okay, finally somebody raised hands. I thought in Toastmasters, everybody was going to say, we have only seen evaluators who have motivated us. Thank you, Tata. Thank you, Prabha. You guys are like honest people who came up and say, I have also met personally evaluators in Toastmasters who have given me such harsh evaluations where I felt like, oh my God, am I this bad a speaker? Or, oh my God, am I this bad at my content? This is a fact. Thank you, Srijita. You have also raised your hand. This is a fact. And how many of you have felt after receiving an evaluation bad? Felt bad, so bad that in the evening you felt like, where am I? Why am I doing this? I don't deserve to be here. Or maybe I'm not deserving enough to be a public speaker. Wow, only Srijita has felt that. I have felt that. I have felt that. Maybe newcomers have not given a lot of speeches, so I think they have not got a lot of harsh evaluations, right? But I have personally received evaluations where after coming back from the meeting, I felt like I want to quit Toastmasters. I have gone through that, and I hope none of you go through that. That is why we have this session today, evaluate to motivate. What is the benefit of evaluations? There are twofold benefits of evaluations. Okay, one is to the speaker, one is to the evaluator. There is also a benefit of evaluation to a third party. Who is the third party? Can anybody tell me? One speaker will benefit, the evaluator will benefit. How the speaker and evaluator will benefit, I'll tell you. There is also one more party involved who benefits from evaluation. Come on.
Audience.
Thank you so much. Audience. So when you give your evaluations, my dear friends, remember this. You are giving your evaluation for 3 people, not for 1 person. The first person, the main person whom you're evaluating is the speaker. Okay, so you're giving your evaluation for the speaker. That's the first person. The second person whom you're evaluating is for yourself. You're going to learn a lot of things. You're going to understand what is speech making, speech craft, right? And delivery. You're going to learn the intricacies of all these things. So the second person who's going to benefit is you. And the third person who's going to benefit is the audience. Because when an evaluator gives an evaluation, believe it or not, the audience is listening. Many a times I have got feedback and I have learned a lot of good lessons, not from my speeches, but by speeches that someone else has given and somebody else was evaluating. And I heard something, I'm like, this is something I can use in my speech. So the audience also takes away from your evaluation. And what are the benefits for the speakers? So self-explanatory. This slide was given to me by Toastmasters. I didn't make, no, absolutely, what do you say? I cannot take any credit for the slides. First is providing immediate feedback. Now, can somebody tell me what is the difference and what is the importance of providing immediate feedback and later feedback? Like, why does it matter?
Once the evaluator remembers, the evaluator will remember the critical feedback that he can give at the moment. What if he forgets later? And the speaker will also absorb it as per if it is immediate. So if it is later means they are maybe not be connected and that might get lost in the wind.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Like you said it, like what is the benefit for evaluator? What is the benefit for the speaker? See, we all have a short-term memory and a long-term memory, right? Like when I say something and immediately if somebody gives me a feedback, see, you said this was the expression, you could have done this better. That feedback hits me harder than if I give a speech and then after 3 days, somebody comes and gives me a feedback. This is a fact, right? I made pav bhaji today. I did. And the moment my brother ate the pav bhaji, he was like, what nonsense, there's too much salt. I felt bad. I took the feedback. I'm like, next time I'm going to keep salt in mind. On the other hand, if my brother eats the pav bhaji, he says, it's okay, it's not bad. And then after 4 days, he comes back and says, you know what? You made that pav bhaji very salty. I didn't tell you that time because you're my sister, but now I'm telling you made it very salty. First thing, I won't trust that feedback. I'll be like, why are you changing the feedback now, right? Why are you saying now? Tabhi kyun nahi bola? So that is the first thing that happens. When you don't give an immediate feedback, the trust factors goes down. And the second thing is, I won't take it seriously. In my mind, I'll be like, so many things have happened between those 3 days. Why is he giving me this feedback now? So immediate feedback, that is the Toastmasters philosophy. And I hope you understand why it matters. Why in every meeting after the speaker speaks, we have a table topic session and we have the evaluation immediately. Immediate feedback, one is for your brain to absorb it quickly. And two, the trust factor. You have heard me right now. You're giving me a feedback right now. There is no bias in your mind. We have not fought this evening. We did not have any issues between us, the speech and the evaluator, right? There's no time. So that is a bias-free feedback. So that immediate feedback point is very important. Second, what is the benefit of the speaker? For the speaker is offering methods of improvement. Offering methods of improvement. Can anybody tell me what do you mean by this? Offering methods of improvement. And not just Srijita and Tata, guys. There are so many people, 15 people in this room. It's okay if you give a wrong answer. Yeah, who's it?
Just by giving the examples, by showing.
Thank you. Offering methods of, right, Chetan, you're absolutely right. Giving examples. You know, many a times in evaluation, I have seen people say, you could have done better audience engagement. Okay, but how? How? I could have done better audience engagement, but how? Or an evaluator comes and says, body language needs to be improved. What is body language? My facial expression is also body language. My hands, my legs, my torso, every part of my body is a body language prop, right? How? We have to not just give feedback in the sense like, bol diya, improve your body language, improve your voice toning, do more audience engagement. That is an incomplete feedback. And honestly, I'll tell you, that's a useless feedback. Very honestly, I'm telling you. If you want to give a useful feedback to someone, tell them how. All right. And the third, building and maintaining self-esteem. What do you mean by this? Come on. Self-esteem. Do I have to pick volunteers now? Like, Prabha, can you tell me? Like,
To
what do
take
you mean?
in positive way. Not to be demotivate, but take whatever as a improvement in positive.
Absolutely. Take whatever as an improvement in positive. Okay. Here you have to remember there are two words, building and maintaining. See, as evaluators, many times what we do, we just go and we think, I have to give this person feedback so that he can improve his speech, right? But that is not your only job. Your job is much more important and critical than that. You know what? Your job is to build the self-esteem. When you go as an evaluator, you are going to build that person's confidence and self-esteem. Every word that you say as an evaluator is either going to ensure that the speaker is going to go back on the stage and give a better speech, or the speaker is going to not step again on the stage. I'll give you an example. This is an example of current division director. I'm not going to say which division director it is. I'm not going to take his name. Okay. And he told me this the first time he gave his icebreaker speech in Toastmasters 2 years back. He gave an icebreaker speech, which is a 4 to 6 minute speech, and the evaluator gave him a very critical feedback. Now, the feedback was good. It was not like the feedback was wrong, but it was very critical. And icebreaker speech is the first speech that a speaker ever gives in Toastmasters. He felt so dejected that for 6 months, he didn't give a speech again. For 6 months, he didn't go on stage. This is a very true story. And then after 6 months, his mentor had to cajole him, work more with him, give him more self-esteem, give him more confidence so that he could come back on stage and speak. And this, mind you, is a terrific speaker. I'm not talking about someone who's shy on stage, who's nervous on stage. No, a really good speaker. So this is the problem with evaluation. Remember, your responsibility is twofold. Giving proper feedback, critical feedback, so that the person improves, but at the same time, build and maintain that self-esteem. Ensure that after your evaluation, the speaker feels so motivated that I'll go back and give the same speech again, or a better speech as soon as possible. When you are unable to do that, you become a great evaluator. Okay, so this is the basic foundation of evaluation. Are you guys with me? Or is this all like bouncer?
Yes.
Yes.
With me?
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Yes,
I
yes,
said
yes.
this is an interactive session, guys. Unmute yourself and talk to me. Please don't be shy. Now, tell and sell approach. Now, this is all very jargony things in Toastmasters, but because this is like the basic foundation course of evaluation in Toastmasters, let's go through this. What is a tell and sell approach? It's there. The explanation is also there on the slide, but can somebody explain to me here, especially newcomers, do you guys know what is a tell and sell approach of evaluation? Please, Srijita, Tata, and Chetan also, because Chetan, you are an experienced evaluator. Apart from you three, can anyone else tell me what is a tell and sell approach?
No.
No clue? Okay. No idea? Okay, now Srijita, Chetan, Tata, do you guys want to try? Like, what is a tell and sell approach?
So basically, whatever the evaluator giving the feedback to the speaker should take it in that way. He should give. It should not be like that. He should feel that really this is what the gaps are there. So he should by it he should practically implement it. So in that way, if the evaluator will give, then it will be the good evaluation.
Okay, so this is not the tell and sell approach, but Chetan, thank you. That was like a good perspective that you brought to the audience right now. But this is not what tell and sell approach is. I'll tell you what tell and sell approach is. Tell and sell means what, I am telling and I am selling the evaluation. In Toastmasters, when an evaluator gives an evaluation, does the speaker have an opportunity to talk back or comment back or say, hey, I don't agree with your evaluation, or hey, you misunderstood me, that was not my
No.
point, can you change the evaluation? Is there that any kind of communication happening? Yes or no?
Just
No,
one-way
exactly.
communication.
It's a one-way communication. Thank you. It's a one-way communication, right? That is the tell and sell. I am only telling, I am only selling. Now, why do we do this? Why don't we allow any kind of communication between the speaker and evaluator during the meeting? See, after the meeting, obviously, the speaker may come like personally message the evaluator and say, hey, why did you say this or what? That is a totally different story. During the meeting, why don't we have any kind of communication? Can somebody tell me? Why it's a tell and sell approach?
There'll be a lot of to and fro if the speaker also speaks and the evaluator also talks, and the meeting would get extended for an undiscoverable amount of time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That evaluation then will become another speech, because I'm sure every time
They
Yeah,
might not
Surya.
derive any particular conclusion in that time.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Suryaban. Thank you so much. You might not arrive at any conclusion if you don't take the tell and sell approach. The tell and sell approach of evaluation is the evaluator tells the evaluation and evaluator sells the evaluation. Basically speaking, evaluator talks, speaker listens. Whether the speaker accepts your feedback or not is a totally different story. That is up to the speaker. There is no compulsion in Toastmasters which says that if an evaluator is given an evaluation, the speaker has to accept it. Absolutely not. If the speaker is convinced, he or she may accept it. If not, he or she may reject it. As a speaker, I have that right? It's up to me. That's okay. But when the evaluator is giving the evaluation, he will give the evaluation. Understood? The tell and sell approach. So we spoke about evaluators, the speaker, evaluator, audience, how it benefits them, and what is the tell and sell approach. How to evaluate effectively. Now, this is where the key things start, especially for newcomers. Please pay attention. How to evaluate effectively. So there are 3 stages of evaluation. One is before the meeting, then during the meeting, and then there's something after the meeting. So before the meeting, what happens? Talk with the speaker about manual objectives, evaluation guidelines, and any concerns the speaker has. Now, this is a very controversial topic because in Toastmasters, there are divided opinions. Some evaluators say we should talk with the speaker. Some say we shouldn't talk with the speaker because talking with the speaker can create a bias, right? Like, for example, my target speaker today was Weber. So I'm taking Weber as an example. For example, if I had already before this meeting spoken to Weber and Weber said, Joane, my speech is not that great today. I'm not prepared for it, but that's because, I have so-and-so problem at my house. You know now how things are. Then I feel very, bad for Weber when I may think like, oh, bichara, like we should give him some kind of leniency. And then when he comes and delivers the speech, that keep my evaluation, a biased evaluation. It makes my evaluation a biased evaluation. I may not be able to give him a neutral evaluation where I'm not evaluating his circumstances. I'm just evaluating his speech. Okay. So personally, I don't talk to my speakers before evaluation. What I do personally, I will get the speech objectives. Every time an evaluator comes and reads level 2, project 1, this is a speech objective. Then there is an evaluation form. I'll take that evaluation form and I will read through the evaluation form. I will see what is the speech objective. I will read through the evaluation form. If I feel like this speech objective is something that I don't understand, I will Google about it. I do this. I will Google about that speech objective. And now Google Baba has every information on Toastmasters. Anything and everything you need to know in Toastmasters, you just Google. You have multiple websites dedicated to Toastmasters and the Pathway Learning Program, which will help you with that. So I'll Google about it and I'll read a little bit. Okay, these are the key aspects I have to keep in mind when I am evaluating this project. Not the person, but that project. Okay. Any concerns, the speaker will talk to the evaluator. Like, for example, if the speaker has special prop and he wants the evaluator to take note of it, the speaker may talk to you about that, but that's a totally different story. Okay. So you may or may not talk to your speaker before evaluation. That is up to you. Personally, I don't do that because it creates a bias in my mind. Next. During the speech, show that you're interested. Put yourself in the position of the speaker and take notes. Now, this is very important. How do you show that you're interested? In an online speech environment, usually when I'm taking evaluation, I'll switch on the camera so that my expressions are not visible. But that show that you're interested it's like a two-way sword, a double-edged sword. Can somebody tell me why? Any idea? What is a double-edged sword? Why showing that you're interested is a double-edged sword? No idea. Everything is bouncer right now, guys.
Can have a pros and cons as well. That's a
Feels,
double-edged sword.
Yeah, it can have a
speaker also
yeah,
felt motivated kind of thing.
Speaker also feels motivated or he may feel demotivated. I'll give you an example. I was once giving a speech. It was an offline speech, right? Like on stage speech. And I knew who my evaluator is. In a meeting, you know who your evaluator was. And the evaluator was taking notes. And suddenly when I said something, evaluator's face was like, and I stopped. And I was like, okay, what? Why did he make that face? Why did he make that face? And the flow with which I was speaking, I stopped. Now, this is the impact as an evaluator that you will have on your speaker. Show that you're interested, but don't show expressions. That's my personal, advice or suggestion, I would rather say, to all evaluators. How do you show that you're interested? Smile, nod if you want, like when they make it, but don't show like, ye kya bol diya? Or what nonsense. You may feel that inside, obviously. That's okay. Keep the feelings to yourself. Develop the diplomat's face. Right? Develop the diplomat's face. Keep on smiling. Don't show your actual emotions on the face. That affects the way the speaker speaks. We don't want to do that. Put yourself in the position of the speaker. This is very important. Can somebody tell me why? Why putting yourself in the position of the speaker is important?
Because it makes us empathetic about how the speaker feels when we say things to them.
Yes, it makes you empathetic, right? Empathetic. And I'll tell you why. Suppose there is a speaker who comes in, okay, and he has a mother tongue influence. You know what is a mother tongue influence? Does anybody know what is a mother tongue influence?
Yeah, first
Oh,
language influence. Yeah.
First language influence, exactly. So for example, I'll take a very generic example. South Indians have a very pronounced way of speaking. And most of the time you can make that, oh, this person is South Indian, the way they say or the way they pronounce. And this is nothing against South Indians. I'm also South Indian, proudly so. So nothing against South Indians, but that there is there. Or you have some, different ways Gujarati speak in different way, the slang they speak, right? Now a person is coming up on the stage and he has a very pronounced way of speaking, which is not proper according to the English language. There's a mother tongue slang, right? Put yourself in the position of the speaker. Imagine this person is from a vernacular medium, maybe, right? I am privileged and honored to have a education where I came from an English medium, but there are many people in Toastmasters, fantastic Toastmasters, excellent speakers, excellent human beings who have come from a vernacular medium background, from Hindi medium, Marathi medium. They may not have a pronunciation or enunciation as good as me or you, but their content, their delivery, what they're speaking matters. And it's actually incredible. So put yourself in the speaker's shoe before you take down, oh, the pronunciation is wrong, or oh, the speaker is not a good speaker. No, put yourself in their shoe. Sometimes the speaker is short, sometimes the speaker is tall, sometimes there is a fat speaker like me. Okay, now if there's a fat speaker, that person may not be able to do a lot of theatrics. Keep all of this things in mind, right? Empathy. Put yourself in the position of the speaker, because these things, what you need to do, you don't need to note them, but you need to understand that this should not influence your evaluation. This does not matter. So keep yourself in the speaker shoe and take notes. Taking notes is very important. Is there any person in this room who does evaluation and does not take note? Can you please raise your hand? Anybody, quickly? Thank you. Because I am also someone who takes note. There are some evaluators, seasoned evaluators who don't need to take note, but I have not reached that level. And I don't think I'll ever reach that level because I personally like to take notes. When do you take notes? Take notes while the speaker is speaking. If you feel like, okay, I can do that. If you feel like, no, I need to look at the speaker, I cannot take notes immediately. Like I can't do both. Then look at the speaker and take note when you feel like only something important is happening. You know your capacity as a multitasker. Okay, so play according to your capacity, but taking note is very important because you won't remember what the speaker spoke for 5 to 7 minutes. That's not possible that you can remember everything unless you have a perfect memory. If you have a perfect memory, then you're an extremely lucky person. But otherwise, you please do take notes. The most important part of evaluation. How to evaluate effectively during your evaluation. Now, can somebody tell me if they were ever hurt by an evaluation, what part of that evaluation hurt them? Very openly, let's discuss this. You don't have to take names. You can just say, somebody gave me this evaluation and that hurt. Can somebody tell me that? Any volunteers who would like to volunteer? No? Toastmasters, everybody gives positive evaluation. I know that. Toastmasters is a very secure and lovely place to be. I know that also. So if you feel like I've never got an evaluation where I've got hurt, then I'm very happy for you. Honestly, I am. But if you feel like you got an evaluation and you felt hurt, can you just share that point? Srijita, do you have a point?
Yes. I once received an evaluation where the evaluator said that my speech sounded like he was sitting in a theory class. And I felt very bad because to me, I did have theory in my speech, but sitting in a theory class creates a completely different image. And my first thought was, oh my God, was it that bad? Because the kind of theory classes I've been in, I've slept.
Thank you, Shrita. Thank you so much for that sharing that story. And that's true. Your speech felt like as if I was sitting in a theory class. Oh my God, that's like bam, right on your face, right? Like sula diya sabko. That's what would come in my mind if somebody gave me that evaluation. See, instead of saying your speech felt like I was in a theory class, the evaluator could have said your speech was a little theoretical. If you could have brought in some elements of dramatization, then it would have been more interesting or more elevating. And how could you have done that? You could have done that by using X, so and so. Maybe you could have used a song, a prop, something like that. How do you turn the evaluation into a positive and encouraging evaluation? That difference happens when you choose your words carefully. Don't use words like you shouldn't, you didn't, or you failed to. Don't use words like you should have done that, you could have done that, you must do this. What is you must, you should, you could, you failed? Absolutely not. None of us here are experts. I'm not an expert. Whoever gave Srijita the evaluation that her speech was like a theory class, I'm sure in that audience, one person will come and say, no, I felt her speech was very interesting. How do you prove whether it's a theory class or not? There's no way to do that. So as an evaluator, please remember, don't use extreme words like shouldn't, couldn't, should have, must have, failed to do this, or achieve to. No. Use positive words. How do you use positive words? Positive words like, I believe you could have done better. Instead of saying you could have done better, say, I believe you could have maybe used this aspect. Instead of saying you should have done that, you could have said, I believe that if you may have done that, it would have been more interesting. Think about it. Or I believe that instead of doing this, if you could have brought in this element, maybe it would have been more interesting. These word choices make all the difference. As an evaluator, I've always got a feedback that I'm very positive and encouraging. And I'll tell you the reason why. I give the same evaluation that any effective evaluator would have given. The only difference between my evaluation and other evaluations that personally I believe is the word choice. That is the game changer. I will never go and tell a person, you know what, you didn't look at the camera. Never. I'll tell that person, you were doing a fantastic job, because it is honestly, it's a very difficult job to come on the stage and talk. So I'll say you did a fantastic job. But if you were looking at the camera, the audience would have felt much more connected to you. So next time, please think about it. You can look at the camera, right? And if looking at the camera makes you feel nervous, don't look at the camera. Look at the peephole, the white, the hole, the button. So in this way, you're not looking at the audience. You won't get nervous. But at the same time, the audience will feel like you're looking at them. So think about it. This is the difference. Instead of saying, you didn't look at the camera, you should have looked at the camera, then that would have made a difference. What I did, I said why looking at the camera is important and how you can do it, right? Promote self-esteem. That's the third point. Now, promote self-esteem, it's again connected. I won't go into detail. Self-esteem, when I gave that evaluation of looking at the camera and how you feel connected to the audience, I'm actually encouraging and increasing the self-esteem of the speaker. I'm not saying, oh, you're an idiot, you didn't look at the camera. No, I'm saying you could have done better. How? Just by looking at the camera. See here, one thing you have to understand, very important. As an evaluator, one thing that I really, suggest and request to all of you is train yourself to understand the speaker's body language. Now, what is this, Baba? This is so technical. I'm not asking you to go into technicalities. I'm asking you to invoke your empathy within and see whether the speaker is nervous. Now, the speaker is on stage and he's giving a not so good speech, say a very poor speech. But you can see that the speaker is very nervous. He's sweating, he's shivering, he's stopping, he's pausing. He's very underconfident. In such a case, don't give a critical feedback. Don't give a critical evaluation. Understand that at that point of time, the speaker does not need you to tell him, oh, you could have done better in body language, oh, you could have done better in content, oh, your organization could have been better. No. At that point of time, that speaker needs encouragement. He needs confidence. He needs to know that it's okay if you're shivering. It's okay if you're nervous. It's okay if you're not smiling. Come back. We loved it. Come back. This is what he needs to hear. One evaluation from your side which says your body language could have been better, game over. Trust me, that speaker will not come back on stage. That is a nervous speaker. That is someone who's trying it maybe for the first or second time, someone who's very scared, very afraid of being on stage. Your job as an evaluator is to understand that subtle nuances, understand what is that level of the speaker. If on the other hand, the speaker is a fantastic speaker, he's on stage, he's very confident, his delivery is really good, then you can think about giving a critical feedback, but in a positive way, a critical feedback. So understand where that speaker is coming from, what is the background, and then decide what is your evaluation going to do. This brings me to the most important part of evaluation. My dear friends, remember, you are not evaluating for yourself. You're not evaluating for the audience. You're not evaluating to get a medal, to become the best evaluator. No, you are evaluating so that the speaker will come back as a better speaker. That's the main objective. Even if you forget everything that you heard today, just remember this one thing. I am sitting here as an evaluator. My job is to ensure that this person will come back next time as a better speaker because of my evaluation. If you can do that, game over. You are a really good evaluator. Remember this point. I'll now go quickly because it's done. Like there's nothing else left to the basics. Avoid being disingenuous. Honest evaluations. I have heard people come on stage where the speaker was so bad. Now I'm going to be very honest here. So bad, cringe-worthily bad. Yet the evaluator says, oh, that was such a lovely speech. That was such a beautiful speech. No, that's dishonesty. Now, this is a very difficult task. Joanne, you're telling me to be positive. You're telling me to be encouraging. You're telling me to use all these words. And then on the other end, you're saying be honest. How do you balance this? See, that is where you are going to grow as an evaluator. How do you balance honesty with positivity and encouragement? Very difficult. What if I'm sitting as an evaluator and the person in front is really a cringeworthy speaker? And you will encounter such speakers also, or a very arrogant and egoistic speaker, right? How am I going to give him an encouraging evaluation, but at the same time be honest about it? That is something I feel you develop as you keep on evaluating. It won't happen in day one. It didn't happen for me. When I started as an evaluator, I was a very critical evaluator. And then I learned how to be a positive, encouraging evaluator. So I had to go down. For some people, you may have to go down. For some people, you may have to go up. That is from being too positive to becoming honest and being critical. This is a balance that only and only can be achieved when you keep on evaluating. So it's okay if as an evaluator you make mistake. That's fine. Don't be afraid of that. Only ask yourself this question: did I give my best in this evaluation? Did I try to be positive yet honest? I am done. Closing. This is very important. Summarize your key points. So how do you evaluate? Now there are three last point of evaluation, right? 3 aspects of evaluation. First, what did you like? Second, where they can improve. And third is the summary. There is a word for this kind of evaluation. Does anybody know? I'm sure Srijita, Tata, all these experts, Chetan know. What do you call this evaluation in Toastmasters lingo?
CRC.
CRC. Write it down, my dear friends, especially newcomers. CRC. C for comment, R for recommend, and C again for comment. Comment, recommend, comment. You also call this approach a sandwich approach. Sandwich in the sense positive, areas of improvement, and then end again with the positive. Very important. That ending is everything. If you end on a high note, on a positive note, your speaker will go back and think about your evaluation. If the whole evaluation, if you end on a negative note, especially too negative note, you know what? The speaker may not think about your evaluation. He will only think about the negative things that you said. That's human nature, right? 100 people will come and say, Joanne, you're such a great person. One person comes and say, Joanne, you're not good good. I will always remember that person. That's human nature. Same thing happens in evaluation. Comment, Joanne, how many recommendations and commendations can we give? A speaker is speaking, you're evaluating, and you feel like there are 10 recommendations, genuine recommendations that you can give to the speaker, and there are 5 genuinely good things that you heard from the speech. Are you going to give all the 5 and all the 10 recommendations? Yes or no? No?
No.
I can only see Suryaban nodding his head no.
No, we cannot give. We have to adhere to the evaluation time. So that is why.
Exactly. 2 to 3 minutes, that's the evaluation time. Very important to adhere to that. And not just the time. Timing is very important. But if I give 5 positive points, 10 negative points, nobody's going to remember it. See, my job is not to convert the speaker, the best speaker in that evaluation. This is not going to happen. It's just 1 point or 2 points of recommendation that the speaker can take back and bring in the next speech, right? We are recommending and evaluating so that the speaker becomes better for the next speech, not forever. Not forever. Not, this is not the final evaluation of his life and bus. Sab kuch bol diya. Ab iske baad tu ban ja better speaker. No, that's not what's going to happen. Just think about the project objective. Did he meet the project objective? According to the project objective, what are the, even the 5 best things he did, what are the 2, maximum 3 highlights, greatest things that he did that you can show off? What are the 2, maximum 3? I won't even say 3, it's 2.5. 2 very important recommendations that he needs to work on for the next speech or for the next time. And 1/2, like, Chintukla, something like look at the camera or smile more. That's like a half recommendation. Something not very important, but which can improve his speaking abilities. So 2.5 recommendations, 2 to 3 commendations. Summarize your evaluation in the end. That is, you give your recommendation, then you give your recommendation, then you summarize it and end on a positive note. Always, always end on a positive note. Tell your speaker, I liked it, and I hope you come back and give an exhilarating and better speech next time. All the best to you. Very important. Now I've exceeded my time, but I'll still open the floor for questions, at least a couple of minutes. If anybody has any questions, please go ahead and ask. This is a very basic session, by the way, only on the values and the approach of evaluation, not detailed evaluation. So if you have any questions relating to detailed evaluation, we'll have a session later on that. Any questions? No questions? Wow. Am I that good a teacher, a session taker that you guys have absolutely no questions today?
I have one general question
Yes,
for
please.
evaluation. Like when a speaker speaks, so in notes, what point we should mention? Is there different, but
Yeah. No, I know this is a detailed evaluation question, but I'll answer that. I'll take that. It depends from person to person. Okay. So there's no recommended or this is the way you do it. I'll tell you what I do. And you may take it or you may modify it or you may discard it. That's up to you. When the speaker starts, I write the title. So I have a notebook. I'll write the title. That title is very important. And I will divide the page into 2. Usually I just draw a line. I write plus on one side and I write an upward arrow on the other side. I never write minus. That's my way of being positive throughout my evaluation. Never you will see a minus on my page. It will be always area of improvement, an arrow. Okay. Where as and when the speaker speaks, I'll take down, I feel like, oh, wow, nice point. Audience engagement. Yeah. So I'll in the plus column, I'll write audience engagement and I will write down exactly what the speaker spoke or did. So that when I'm commenting, I need to comment on not what, but how he did the audience engagement. So I'll do that. I'll write down that comment. Same way, as and when I see, oh, body language, nice body language. Oh, he used this expression. So I'll write nice overall body language. Example, this is the specific example that I'm going to comment on. Oh, did not look at the audience at all. So when I'm going, the speaker is speaking, I'm feeling like, acha, this person is not looking at them. So in that area of improvement, I'll write not looking at the audience. How? That how is important. How he is going to improve that looking on audience, that I have to tell him. Now, while the speaker is speaking, I may not have time to write how, but afterwards I do have 1 minute, right, to think about it. So then I'll write how. So this is basically how I do it. I'll write all the positive things that I feel are important or highlighted in that speech. I'll write all the areas of improvement on the side of areas of improvement. Then what I do, when I have time, like we have time, table topic session, we have a couple of minutes of break. What I do is I pick up 3 most important highlights of positives. I pick up 3 most important highlights of areas of improvement, 2 or 3. And then why, how? These 2 questions are answered, should be answered in your evaluation. Why is this an important highlight or an important area of improvement? And how can they do better? Many times, as I said, that they will just come, evaluator just comes and says, Srijita, you should reduce your, language. Your language is too high, reduce your language. But how? Who is going to tell Srijita how? Anybody can come and say, "Na, Srijita, reduce your language." But how will Srijita reduce her language? Or many times people come, Joane, slow down your pace. Slow down your pace. Many times I've got this. How? Once an evaluator came and told me, Joane, I think you should slow down your pace. Remember that 100 words per minute is the ideal pace. That is the answer that an evaluator needs to give. How? Okay, not just why, but how. So I'll write down that how, and then I'll pick the most important ones and I'll present it during my evaluation. Now, this is, as I said, a different session of detailed evaluations. How do you take, how do you analyze the speech, the analytic part, that's a different thing. But today we are just talking about basics. But thank you, Vaibhav. That was a very important question. I hope people got an idea of how to start evaluating it. Any other questions? If not, I'll hand it over to TMOD because we have overshot the time. Done? Tick, tick 1, tick, tick 2, tick, tick 3. Thank you so much. You have been a fantastic.
Joane, just
yeah, Surya, go ahead.
just one more question. Like, does
Yes,
this will
yes.
cover general evaluation session, or like we have to complete certain fact, right? For it to-
General evaluation is a totally different, ball game. This is
Okay.
only speech evaluation. This is not evaluation contest also, but this is a starting point, the first step of evaluation. So if you are thinking about contesting, this is a good part. Basically, the core values that you need to adhere as a evaluator. I think I'll take any questions anybody has offline because we are out of time. I'll hand it over to TMOD. You guys know my number. Message me anytime, any question regarding evaluation. I'm always there to help. Thank you so much for being a lovely audience. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Srijita.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Joane. That was such an interactive, honest, and a very heart-to-heart education session, which taught us not just how to evaluate, but also why we need to evaluate in those specific manners, because we want every speaker to come back